In the mid-2000s, three of the big German manufacturers were looking at producing the ultimate four-door performance car. Munich, BMW were developing their first V8 M3 in the shape of the E90. In Stuttgart, Mercedes had put the 6.2 litre V8 into the C-Class to create the C63 AMG. And Audi, well, they developed their second generation RS4, but their first in saloon variant. And it is this, codenamed in Audi speak the B7, that we're reviewing today. 4.2 litre, 414 brake horsepower, four-wheel drive RS4. Welcome to this week's Fast and Fun. So this second generation RS4 was the first saloon RS4 because the previous version, the first gen, was Avant only. In fact, Audi and Porsche teamed up in the early 90s to create the RS2, which again was Avant only. So this was the first saloon. But what was really important was the manual shift. So this was a 6-speed manual only gearbox. Not only that, when this was competing against the V8 M3 E90 and the C63 MG, both rear-wheel drive, this came with full four-wheel drive system, because that's what Audi are known for with regard to their Quattro. But instead of it being a Haldex-based front-wheel drive and only pushing up to 50% to the rear wheels, this one was 40-60 split, biased towards the rear, so 60% of the power is going to the rear to create that high performance feeling of being rear-wheel drive based. These B7 RS4s built between 2006 and 2008, 4.2 litre V8 engine producing 414 brake horsepower. Incidentally, this one has been remapped to a slightly higher value, and we'll talk about that when I take a walk around the car. RS4 stands for Rhine Sport, or in English that would be Racing Sport, and the 4 represents the A4, so the RS, the Racing Sport 4 Series. And I have to say, in this blue colour, looks absolutely stunning, offset with these 19-inch silver alloy wheels. Right, let's take a walk around the car and pick out some of the key features of this B7 RS4. If you look at the front, again, it's all about subtlety. With the RS4, it's all about stealth. It's not got the in-your-face looks, just that subtle badge at the front showing the RS4. Cooling of that 4.2 V8. The front there with that huge front grille, but also these additional, and it's difficult to see, but these additional side vents as well with extra radiators to cool that large V8 lump in the front. And then if you look down the side of the car, you can see the flared arches. Again, really subtle, but both front and rear arches there. It looks really great with the sort of silver wing mirrors running on 19-inch twin-spoke, 7-spoke, twin-spoke alloys, and massive calipers, apparently 8-pot calipers here. Unbelievable the size of the pads and discs for these to haul this car down. They come in at varying between 1650 and 1700 kilograms. Not a light car, but don't forget it's carrying four-wheel drive system, so it will always be a heavier car because of that. But that will and should give you more all-round ability. At the back, RS4, there's also some MRC badging on the back as well. This was remapped, and being a normally aspirated car, more difficult to remap, but it was, and this has been lifted from the standard 414 brake horsepower up to just over 440 now. Also, the first 3 gears, the torque limiter has been removed as well. So it'd be interesting to see what this car feels like now. Inside the car, it looks absolutely fabulous. First 2 things you notice is the flat-bottomed RS4 steering wheel, same steering wheel that was fitted to the Lamborghini Gallardo. And the other dominating feature is these optional extra RS4 wingback seats. Look fabulous. Consider the miles, over 100,000 miles on this car. Somewhere on the lumbar supports, but nothing untoward really, just what you'd expect. And then if you look into the rest of the cabin, lots of carbon trim inside here. And it looks quality, it really does. That 6-speed manual stick shift, press button start for engine. And I suppose it's just the infotainment system, like in so many cars, is the only thing that really, I think, that shows the age of these cars. Like most cars, infotainment systems have come on hugely over the last 15 years. And even on the door panels as well, you've got all this carbon effect as well, carbon trimmings. And as you step in, just reminded you are stepping into a legend of the A4 series, being the RS4. Let's just have a quick look under the bonnet. And there we go. What an engine packed in here. Now, it's being told online, you can read all the reviews, how it's so far forward and it suffers understeer, etc. Well, let us find out. If we stand, say, the front axle of the car, where the wheels are, you can see it is well forward, but it'll be really interesting to see how this drives on the road. And 99% of these cars are used only on the road. Again, and just the time and effort that's gone into putting bits of carbon here, showing you this is the ultimate A4 from the mid-2000s. Right, there we go. Let's get this car out on the road and see how this legendary B7 drives on some of the UK's best British roads. So, my first drive of an RS4, my third drive of an RS though, having driven an RS6 and an RS7 last year. This is the first RS4, normally aspirated 4.2 litre, so this has been mapped 440 horsepower. Straight away when you get in this car, really nice place. These seats, they feel massive, they're really hugging my torso as well. Quite a shiny, quite shiny slippery steering wheel, but it has done over 100,000 miles in this car. But again, the carbon, it all looks premium, it all looks quality, maybe apart from the infotainment system, as I say. 6-speed manual as well. This is what we will miss in years to come when we're all driving autos. So put everything in, clutch pedal to start, maybe. Oh yeah, push button. And then push the button to start. And that rasp V8, there's no doubting that this is a V8 in this car. So 120,000 miles on this car, which for these engines will be absolutely nothing. The only runs it on 99 RON as well. And it's what you expect there, that rev limiter on the left hand side, redlining at 8,000, and a speedo that looks set to go straight up to 200 miles per hour is actually on the speedo itself. I'm not saying the car can go that. And it's very simple layout. It's just what you want really. The steering wheel itself decluttered, so you've not got all that modern stuff on there and buttons, which I don't like. Flat bottom steering wheel with the RS4 logo. And really, other than the steering wheel there and the RS4 on the rev counter, there's not a lot else to tell you what car that you're in. And this carbon trim here with the Quattro on there as well, telling you in a four-wheel drive car. Okay, let's pull away and let's see what this car can do. So we've come out of the village onto one of my favourite B roads here, and we're just going to, as the car gets warm, just going to take it up to sort of the national speed limit down here, 60 miles an hour. I'll just put it straight into 6th gear and just see what it's like. How does it ride that road? So 60 miles an hour, you're pulling just under 2,500 revs. It's quiet, it's refined, the engine's just literally just ticking over. And the first thing, for a car that's got over 100,000 miles on the clock, that's 15, 16 years old, there's hardly a noise in the cabin. It's incredible. It's quiet, it's refined. Apart from that, no doubting V8 up front. The clutch is a nice weight, it's not too light, it's not too heavy. And the driving position, so many cars get the driving position wrong. I feel like I'm sat in it, the steering wheel's up close, just the right driving position as well. Gearbox, a little bit notchy. We'll come out this junction. Just wait for the car in front to go further ahead. So 2nd gear now. I'll just back it down to 20 miles an hour. So 2nd gear, pull in 2,200 revs, and we'll just see what it's like. Just take it up to 60. So put it down there, 4, 5, 6, 7, into 3rd. And you're very, very quickly at the speed limit. And really that 2nd gear is good to take you beyond the speed limit. And incidentally, when I went from 2nd to 3rd then, sweet gear change. And that linear power delivery as well. You just feel like you get more and more power. So this corner I'm coming up to here, it's left-hander. He just wants to throw the car out. It's quite busy, so just take it steady. But I'll hold it in 3rd gear here at about 60 miles an hour. Just through this left-hander. Oh, it's instant. Absolutely, the throttle response is just on fire. Just any little twitch, and it's instant power. Just between 4,000 or 5,000 revs. It's just so responsive. So this is my little testing road for the ride and the suspension, really, as we come out of this village, because the road subsided and it's a real test. But at the moment it's got that balance. If you go too extreme with the handling, it can feel crashing, it can feel like it's just knocking your teeth out, knocking your fillings out. If you go too soft, there's too much body roll, there's too much flex. So getting that mix is actually quite difficult. So we're going to come out of this village in a minute, hit the national speed limit, and we'll just take it up to 50 or 60 miles an hour. So I'm just in 3rd gear here. Just gently, you can just hear that. Oh, it builds, the speed just builds. And now there's a few bad bits on this road. Just wants to throw the car around a bit. There, that compression, it's just gone through. Just heard the springs there. Again here, quite up and down. Raspy V8 though. Just throwing you a little bit side to side. Riding it really, really well though. We'll take this left-hander here. That's it. Oh, feel that power right up to 7,000. Straight back on again. On the power. Oh, very quickly at illegal speeds. Rapid, absolutely rapid. And this is evident that when you're in the 400s something range, you just don't need any more power. And the way it delivers it, It just builds and builds and builds power all the time. It's addictive, actually. Probably doing no good for the miles per gallon, but wow. It seems to get that power down really, really well. Steering's, yeah, it's not, it's probably just like a normal Audi trait. You point it, it goes. It's not giving me loads of feedback. Steering at low speeds, very, very light. But one thing that is impressive is those brakes. They're not grabby, they give you lots of feel, and they've got great stopping power as well. Now I'm going to take a left down a couple of little downhill S-bends down here. We'll see how it takes these. These are quite tricky because it's downhill. You can't carry too much speed in this. Just third gear, on the brakes, then off the brakes. Just let it coast around these corners. All this about understeer because all the weight's over the front of the car. Don't worry about it, because unless you're taking it to track and taking it above its limits, then I'm telling you, you're going to be going serious speeds and you ain't going to get an understeer. Not in this. Not unless you're driving like a loony. So don't dispel those fears completely. There's a couple of niggles, I think, with the car. One is the gearbox. Although actually when you're on it at 9/10ths, I've got no issues with it at all. Just for everyday driving, it does feel a bit notchy, a bit slow to move. And the steering feel, it's there. I have got confidence to push on, but it's not telling me what the front's doing. And there too, I think, relatively minors. Nothing to stop me not wanting the car, because there's so many positives. The engine. I thought the 93 M3 that I videoed and filmed last year, that was like a V8 I'd never driven before. V8s were low down power and torquey. That was a high revving 8,000 RPM engine. This is the same. It just builds speed and confidence. It's audibly absolutely a delight. And because it's normally aspirated, you've got so much throttle response, so much adjustability, it's instant power, and it just builds and builds. It's absolutely fantastic. The brakes are strong, hurl the weight down remarkably well. And the other highlight for me is the way it rides. It rides the road really, really well. It's not too firm and it's not too soft. They've got the balance just right. And that's not always the case with some sports cars. The RS4 B7 was always a car that I'd always hankered after. And after having the pleasure of driving one today, I still do. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, thumbs up, subscribe, stay tuned. Video next week. Thanks for watching.